hey, do you have one of these, the iCoach? Have you thought about getting one? Do you have one and want to know how to use it best? Well, stay tuned. I'm going to share with you all my hacks, and we're going to do a full review of the Billie Jean King iCoach. Okay, my superstar student Sophia and I will take you through a few basic drills. And first I'm going to show you just the unit without any kind of extra weighting, because as you guys may know, if you've seen my other videos, I like to weight down this thing and hack it so it doesn't move. But it's pretty solid. It's more solid than the Topspin Pro. When we were practicing with the Topspin Pro, without any weight, without anything to hold it down, the Topspin Pro would go flying across the court if you hit it at any with reasonable power. And the iCoach here is pretty, it's a lot more stable. You see the unit didn't even move. I swung and the unit stays pretty good. If I start to swing really fast, it'll start to bounce around. And so we're gonna hack that and add some weight to it in a minute. I'll show you how I like to add weight to this thing. But it's much more solid in terms of stability than the Topspin Pro. We did a lot of footwork drills and exercises in the last video, and I will link that to you guys for the Topspin Pro. So we'll go through some of those again as a review. But if you're looking for a whole series of exercises, including different footwork exercises, you can also check out what I did with the Topspin Pro and how I like to use these types of machines. All right, so we're gonna do just a basic forehand drill. And what I recommend is always do footwork. Do not work on a machine like this static. Don't do this. Don't think that this is gonna make you better, because I highly doubt it. Try to get some footwork practice in. You can start just a little bit off center here, get some footwork, do your split step, move to the ball, work on the spacing, and then hit. Where are you, Sophia? What did I just say? You're here, it's like you're playing a match or something, one deep, rich visualization. Split step, move to the ball, and work on the space. You want to get a good extension. You'd like to get your arm 150 degrees straight and work on that contact point and try to spin the ball there, right? Come on. Yeah, get out of my way. Always working the feet, and this way you're getting a better cardio workout too. It's not just you're getting your heart rate up rather than just standing here like this. You always want to combine some sort of movement to the ball. You're moving and then you're working on positioning, and then space. Position and then space. Another thing that the iCoach, the manufacturer recommends as well, is to work on keeping your head still. And I think that's a very, very, very good drill, is working on keeping your head still. Let's work on that now. We'll hit the shot and we'll work on keeping the eyes here as long as possible. Look how my chin is over my right shoulder and I'm looking at the ball even after I made impact. And what most people will do is they swing like this. It's very, very common at lower level juniors and adults. Especially as you start to swing faster, the head will flick, the head will move. And so you really want to watch out for that. That's a good way to use the iCoach. It's literally called the iCoach. So this is one of the best drills you can do, is work on hitting and you keep your head still as you hit. Very good way to train the eyes. Nice. My turn. Get some footwork in. Try to get my eyes. Yeah. Also, at the end, I get my base. Nice solid base. Hips abducted, abducted. I'm going. Abduct my hips here. I move to the ball, and I abduct my hips here. Wide hips, strong base, great space, head still. Last couple. Nice. Okay, important observation. These little black thingies, they're like rubber thingies, they always come off. I don't know what's going on with them, but they don't stay on. And already we're hitting it, and they're supposed to protect, I think, against maybe the racket or the strings hitting that part of the machine. But for some reason, these always come off. So they're already coming off, these little black rubber things, and on all the other units that I have, those things are gone. And another thing I would say is, I think, personally, this ball is attached a little too close to the holders. And so what happens is, it has happened, and I would caution you guys, it is rare, but this will break your strings from time to time. It doesn't happen very often, it's pretty rare, but I have had situations where players are practicing, and if they catch it the wrong way, it will snap your strings right in that. I believe it's probably hitting that plastic part. Even if these rubber things are on there, I don't think it prevents the strings breaking. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. Therefore, I usually have my players we have some old rackets around, that like demo rackets, and we actually use those rackets to practice on the iCoach, because I don't want a kid, breaking their favorite strings or something while they're here at summer camp or in the academy. So you have to be careful with your strings, especially if you're swinging really fast on it. So that is an important caveat. Cut. Okay, if you look at this mechanism here, you see how when you hit it, the ball is anterior to these pieces of plastic and the neck and the holder. So there's just no chance of breaking your strings on this type of device. But here, I think because of the way the ball is situated with the holders, it's possible to catch your strings on the side and unfortunately break your string. It is very rare, so I don't want people to panic and be like, oh, no, because it's still a great device, but that is a risk. So just be careful. If you have a freshly strung racket, I would not recommend using it on this machine. Okay. Also, one more quick observation that you should know if you're thinking about buying this type of machine is this neck is much more weighted than the mechanism is weighted. The neck is weighted versus this one. So this has a lot of give to it. When you hit the Topspin Pro, you feel nothing on your arm. When you hit the iCoach, there's definitely, there's some weight there, and there's some resistance there that over time, like I would be cautious, especially with young kids, or if you're doing a lot of repetitions on the iCoach, I'll be a little bit worried about strain on your arm. Depends on how, now the company recommends only 5-10 minutes a day, that kind of thing. But if it's a rainy day and you want to practice for a couple hours, I think you need to be very careful with this machine, because that resistance can certainly add to the load in the wrist and the forearm, the elbow. I would be very cautious about doing lots and lots of reps. I don't have that reservation on the Topspin Pro, because Topspin Pro has a very light mechanism. So just talking about some of the details and differences there. Ready, Sophia? Okay, so here's a cool drill that you can do with the iCoach. It's not something you can do with the Topspin Pro. Is that because it has this weighted stock, it does this, look what it does. It goes back and forth. So if you hit it, it's gonna do this kind of little dance here. And this is actually, I think, this is a positive of the iCoach versus the Topspin Pro. The iCoach has this sway back and forth. And so it challenges your eye tracking. It's called the iCoach. So there is this tracking that has to happen with your eyes as you hit it. Now, so a simple exercise would just be pretty stationary. You don't have to do all the footwork. And this is more for the eyes, not for the movement or the spacing. You hit, and then you have to time it as it's working, and you have to get clean impact, and you try to get a nice rhythm with the machine. You have to track it. And that's the way I did that there is actually a little harder than it looks. It's hard to get into a nice rhythm with the machine, and then you have to watch it go boom, 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 boom. Thanks, Sophia. All right, Sophia, you want to try it? The iCoach training, and rhythm training and timing. Well, I like this thing for that. So this is not using footwork, guys. This is not like cardio. This is more like eyes and rhythm and timing. It's a good exercise. Let's see if you can do it. I bet you can't do it. get it before it stops. You got to get it like this. I mean, you could let it stop, but it's kind of like you try to get it on that one, yeah. Kind of like. Good job, good job. You get a nice flow. But look, did you notice something? The ball wasn't spinning. That's something that I mentioned earlier in the video, that yes, the ball is when you get a new one, it's tight on the mechanism, doesn't spin that well. But what I found is over time it spins much better. So if one of your goals is to work on your top spin, you actually don't get as much feedback from this. You don't get to see the ball spinning as much. It's not quite as fun as with the Topspin Pro. And the Topspin Pro has a colored ball, and this only has a yellow ball. They probably should include a colored ball. That would be cool. And then you can see it spinning better. But yeah, I noticed you weren't spinning the ball there. What's up with that? All right, here's another drill that I like. It's just an alternating forehand and backhand. It's a good cardio drill, good movement, and you can work on your spacing. So you can start on, let's say you start inverted on it, and you go across to hit a forehand, and then you come to this side to hit a backhand. And as you work through this, you can get a really nice workout. Get your heart rate up. You can work on keeping your eyes right there. Notice my eyes. See how the machine's starting to move now a little bit? As I start to pick up my racket speed. I'm going to show you a hack for that in a moment. But look, for average hitting, I'm not swinging too fast. The machine's staying pretty much in its place. So it's good for a camp environment or with kids or adults. You know, it's not going to move around too much like the Topspin Pro. Topspin Pro, if I was doing this drill with the Topspin Pro without weight, that Topspin Pro would be flying right to your camera. All right, you want to try, Sophia? Work on the space and work on the eyes. Nice. You can try to get into rhythm with the ball. Because that ball's moving around, it tests your eyes more than definitely more than the Topspin Pro. Guys, the ball moving around like that, it's a little harder to coordinate. It takes a little more training with the eyes. Okay, so this is where a little ingenuity and creativity comes in handy. And so I just figured out, I don't know, I've been using this thing for many years. I did a really cool video in my old house in New Jersey with this weighted down, and people loved it. It has a lot of views actually. I'll try to link that one too for you guys. And you can do a lot of cool racket speed. You know, I like to train the Spanish way. You can do a lot of cool racket speed drills if you weight this thing down the way I did here. So I got two 35-pound barbell weights, Olympic weights, and it just happens to fit perfectly on the neck, down the stalk. And so this thing will not move. Like, you could be a big bruiser, big guy, bigger than me. You know, I'm 6'3", 185, and you could be 285, 6'6", and this thing's not gonna move. And so you can do all of your acceleration drills that you would do in Spain on the machine, which I think is like very valuable. You can do that in your home. So not only are you know, you can do the eye training, you can do cardio and footwork and spacing and balance and hip abduction work, which I showed you guys, but then you can also get some speed training, basically power training, basically plyometric type training, explosive training, which makes the machine very valuable. So I'll kind of show you just a few repetitions that look like that. If you're doing like forehand racket speed, you try to do fast swing. So if you're doing a Spanish racket speed type exercise, you try to do maybe 8 or 10, don't do much more than that. And you don't want to take a lot of time in between. So you hit it and you get ready again, and you make sure that the tempo is really quick. So those worked pretty well. And if you notice, that machine didn't budge at all. That thing's grounded. Okay, the ultimate hack. I mentioned to you that the mechanism here, the resistance is pretty heavy on the neck, and you can start to feel it on your arm. Solution: old racket. To prevent string breakage, use the racket that's already broken. You take strings that are already broken, and number one, it takes the pressure off the arm so you can do more reps and you don't get as much fatigue in your arm. And number two is, obviously, you cannot break your string. So in my summer camp, when I have kids working on this, I have a bunch of old rackets laying around, sometimes with broken strings, sometimes just old strings. But particularly I noticed just by experimentation that when I use broken strings, it actually feels better on my arm when I'm working, doing a lot of repetitions. So ultimate hack, broken strings, and you can do all your exercises. You can do more repetitions with less arm strength. And that is a little bit of a concern with the iCoach. It feels a lot better on my arm when I'm using strings with low tension or no tension, very little tension. It actually feels, to be honest with you guys, so much better on my arm. I feel like I could do hundreds of those rather than just a dozen. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this iCoach review, unboxing, hack, drills. I hope you learned something. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'll see you on the next video. If you like this iCoach video, check out the video that we did on the Topspin Pro right here.